Hi, good morning and good afternoon to everyone online. My name is Will. I'm Market Development Manager for Industrial Packaging in ExxonMobil. So I'm going to be your host for the webinar today. So I'm pleased to welcome everyone to the joint webinar from ExxonMobil Chemicals and Australian Packaging Governance Organization. So this is going to be a 3-day seminar series exploring strategies to drive circularity in Australia. We are going to cover topics from smarter design to innovative recycling solution and also the incorporation of more recycled into the packaging solution itself. So with us today, we have two speakers. Firstly will be Rebecca. She's our senior packaging technologist for Australia Packaging Cover Organization, in short APCO. We also have Ashley, who is for ExxonMobil Chemicals. She's the head of market development for primary packaging. So for today itself, so for the first 2 days, Rebecca is going to present on the first 2 days, discussing the current and future landscape of recycling in Australia and also APCO role in it. For today, Ziyi will be covering also on designing flexible packaging that is fit for recycling. So this is really designed for recycling or known as D4R. Tomorrow itself, I will be also be covering on how ExxonMobil solutions enable the incorporation of more recycled materials. So with that itself, I will probably pass on the time to Rebecca to kick off the webinar.
All right, thanks, Will. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here today. Um, as Will mentioned, I'm Rebecca Kersey. I'm a senior packaging technologist at APCO. I'm sitting in the packaging transformation team. I'm currently supporting work in packaging design and recovery systems for rigid and soft plastic packaging. Some of you may know APCO, but just a quick introduction. We are the Australian Packaging Covenant Organization. We're a not-for-profit co-regulatory body that operates under the NEPM and a packaging covenant. We work with government and industry to make packaging more sustainable. And our main goal is to set national direction through sustainable packaging guidelines. We track progress against the national packaging targets we have here in Australia. And we support members in designing packaging that can be recovered and recycled in practice. So for today, wanted to talk a bit about designing for recycling, not just from a technical point of view, but from the common thread that weaves through our packaging system. So I'll hit a little bit on where packaging is heading in Australia, what's driving that change, and the design principles. So thank you for that. As we all know, we're in a real period of transition for the packaging industry in Australia. With packaging reform on the horizon and future EPR frameworks taking shape, the national packaging targets still remain the milestones that we're all working towards. Right now, the conversation is really no longer about the targets themselves, but it's about the bigger vision and the steps we need to actually achieve these targets. The question we get from the industry a lot is, do we hold off and we wait for certainty, or do we keep moving? And the truth is, we can't afford to stand still. We have to keep moving because that forward direction is the momentum that keeps the system acting with a sense of urgency. This is where alignment really matters, because if each sector, each retailer, each brand owner follows their own path, then the system in whole doesn't just slow down, it kind of risks about pulling apart. So and when that happens, we lose a lot of momentum. So, and when that happens, we lose the ability to progress at scale to work towards our national packaging targets. So that's why these kind of moments aren't just about like ticking the boxes. We have to use these targets as a unifying goal and signal to bring industry and government together around a shared direction, so we can keep moving forward with purpose. But there are also other forces that are driving change in packaging right now. So we can go to the next slide. When we look at the Australian context, we can see pressure building from all sides. First, policy reform is moving forward. There are some details that are still being worked through, but the direction is there and it's very clear. Packaging standards are tightening and expectations on the industry are rising. At the same time, a lot of retailers, brand owners are just not standing by. Many of them have their own ambitious packaging targets and goals. And it's those commitments that are continuously pushing the pace and driving change across the value chain. The other factor is that, if we layer on the global influence, so the UK, the EU, and even to our neighbors in New Zealand, are all moving towards stricter packaging regulation. These shifts inevitably shape what's happening here in Australia. So while the system can sometimes feel complex or even fragmented, all these forces are broadly aligned and are all moving us in the same direction. Part of APCO's role is to help bring that together in a coherent way so that businesses, brand owners know what to design for and how to move forward with confidence. Because no matter where the pressure is coming from, policy, market, or global influence, the one thing that we can act on today is how packaging is designed. Thank you. So, because design is one of the levers that we all share in common. The way packaging is designed today determines whether it can be recovered, whether it can carry recycled content tomorrow, and whether it fits in with the system that we're all working toward to build. And design matters across every format, from the simplest bottles and trays to the most complex pouches and multi-layer films. But when it's done well, packaging works harder. It sorts more cleanly, it recycles more effectively, and it has a better chance of coming back into circulation. And it's really the entry point for recovery. And it's what makes the system coherent, but only does so if the design is consistent. If every business designs to its own interpretations, then the recovery systems just simply can't keep up with all those variables. So that's why APCO's sustainable packaging guidelines set out a shared set of principles. These principles are there to help steer packaging design for recovery, and we're continuing to build on these or continue to build on this foundation with our best practice guidance, which goes deeper into material specific and format designs. In putting these together, we look at global best practice, such as the CFLEX guidelines, but also taking learnings, insights, innovations from around the world, and that helps us translate them into design guidance that works for the Australian context. Because that way the materials are kept at their highest and best use here in Australia. Because the goal is actually really, really simple. Packaging design, to keep packaging design consistent and practical and fit for use. aligning that with our infrastructure and in markets so that circularity works not just in theory, but also in practice. And this obviously enables us to reach our national packaging targets. So by aligning design guidance and principles, we are able to give recyclers confidence in the quality of the feedstock they receive, and we give the industry the clarity and certainty it needs to move forward. Next, we'll look at the role that APCO plays in turning design principles into practice. Thank you. For industry, the real insights come when the system guidance and the technology pathways are viewed side by side. APCO's role is to connect the system, turning principles into something businesses can actually act on, especially in packaging and particular plastic packaging. Design can look deceptively simple sometimes. Even terms like monomaterials become far more nuanced once you start examining recovery pathways and the end market in which these materials flow. Which is why collaboration across the system matters. First, our role at APCO is to help convene. We want to bring together government, industry, and the technical partners around a shared goal so that these packaging systems can move in the same direction for recovery. Second, we embed the design principles throughout APCO's sustainable packaging guidelines and best practice guidance, making sure that design choices are consistent and workable across the whole system. Third, we translate policy into practice. The regulations and frameworks can be complex, but one of our roles, one of our jobs is to simplify them so that they can be clear and usable guidance for our members. And finally, conversations like this matter because they connect technical expertise with just system design. Exxon brings deep knowledge of raw materials and processing, while APCO can bring system perspective and collaboration. So together, that's kind of how innovation becomes outcomes that work in practice, whether that's compatibilizers, advanced recycling, or embedding design rules that align with our recovery pathways. So it's kind of easy to think of APCO as the bridge that links policy, industry, and technology, making design for recycling practical and achievable. So I'll close quickly by just bringing the idea of design, alignment, and collaboration together. So to wrap up, one of the real challenges we face isn't just the technical side of recycling, but it's also alignment. If we can all work to the same design principles, the system holds together. Recyclers get the feedstock they expect, and industry gets clear direction, and progress becomes visible. Without that alignment, every player risks working in isolation, and the system can't keep pace. Design isn't only about today's requirements, but it's making sure that packaging can move through the recovery system we have now, while also positioning us for the pathways that are coming next, whether that's advanced recycling, reuse systems, or new technologies we haven't even scaled yet. This is why we felt it was important to join Exxon with this webinar. From the APCO side, it's providing the system view and supporting members in applying best practice design and learning about innovations. And in the Exxon side, it's about the science, the engineering, and processing innovations and what they mean for design for recycling and practice. When those perspectives come together, we move beyond just the targets and we're able to deliver real outcomes. So that's my pitch real quickly. So with that, I will hand it back over to Will and Ashley to share more about the innovation and technology.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca, for your sharing about Australia packaging future and how everyone online can also work towards that together, especially with APCO as the bridge between policy, innovation, and also the implementation of solution itself. For ExxonMobil side, we will be all about sharing how our experience and expertise in raw material processing of the resin itself, and what that means for design for recycling, in which Ashley, in the next couple of minutes, is going to share more about our solution, which enable design for recycling. But before that itself, I just want to do a quick kind of admin shout out. There's actually a Q&A button that you can find in this webinar. Do use that to input any questions that you have. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end of Ashley's presentation, where we will invite Rebecca, Ashley back online again to join everybody in for a Q&A session itself. So please do feel free to use a Q&A portion of the webinar to input your questions, and we'll address some of that later on itself. All right. With all that out of the way, allow me to invite Ashley to share more about ExxonMobil solutions. To you, Ashley.
Thank you, Will. Hello, everyone. So this is Ashley. Today I will covering the solution from ExxonMobil, talking about advancing flexible packaging solution, really more towards focusing about design for recycling, as what Rebecca just now mentioned, as one of the direction to enable the recycling and circular economies for Australian market. Next, moving on. So for today's topic, before I jump into specific solutions, for some of you might be first time interact with ExxonMobil or not so familiar with some of our latest investment. So for us, we deliver our product solution through delivering reliable and quality supply. Especially this year, we just started our China manufacturing site. So with that, actually, we are having currently both Singapore and China to support Asia Pacific for that. So also that marks us as a leading polyethylene market positions. And we are not only just doing for that one. Next page is also really focusing not only just reliable supplies, but very importantly, we deliver through innovation and value chain collaborations. This week, we were really focusing on sustainable packagings. As what Rebecca was mentioned, there are a few directions that APCO is trying to drive the industry moving towards sustainable solutions. So ExxonMobil, as a solution providers, we are focusing to expand the plastic life cycle through existing solutions. That including do more with less, reduce your virgin plastic usage, and balance in terms of a cost and performance. Second, for design for recycling, that is an enabler for all the circular economy to start waste, to have a packaging that is ready to recycle. Thirdly is to incorporate of recycled contents. So some of the non-food or less sensitive applications you might consider as a mechanical recycling. And then with that, you may need certain solutions to maintain your performance while balance performance while balance to incorporate certain recycled content into that solution. Tomorrow, will actually utilize the chance to share with you more. While next, if you have certain sensitive applications or food content related, we also are leading supplier in terms of advanced recycling, which is chemical recycling, enable you to do that. And we will share a bit more together with Control Union on day 3 of this seminar series. So do join us in day 3 as well. While at the same time, we continue to innovate. We have solution under development right now looking into ISCC Plus certified biocircular plastic and also exploring towards lower life cycle GHG emissions. And we believe that with all this innovation, it has to be achieved through a value chain collaborations together. That's the reason why we actually joined APCO and we invite all of you across the value chain to think with us together on how to innovate through these sustainable solutions. With that, I will really moving towards a design for recycling solutions. So today I will focus towards more mono PE solutions that we can introduce to the market to enable use to balance the solution while at the same balance the performance while at the same time achieve sustainable solutions. So moving for the next one more page. So when we look at mono PE solutions, so the current structure with a lot of flexible packagings is actually a multi-laminate. So you have two components in your structures. One is substrate film, which normally you use it for printing. So the key requirement, you need a stiff film, you need good flatness, you need good optics and heat resistance to support you through the printing process to have a high quality print. So with PE substrate to replace some of the current substrate you are having that is not able to recycle, such as PET or PA, we are looking to offer the solution from both the MDO and non-MDO angles based on your equipment availabilities. We have a full portfolio grid in terms of solution that we can offer to you to make a PE substrate film. At the same time, when you shift towards a mono PE solutions, you cannot use your current PE sealant film because you will need to have a lower SIT. You need to have some density difference together towards your PE substrate to enable you to have a very smooth spec making process. So with that, we will also be able to help you to design your PE sealant film solution with our portfolio coming from Extra Seal, Exceed Stiff Plus, and Tough Plus. So this is a full solution we can offer in terms of substrate and sealant. Moving to the next, I will zoom in for substrate film first. So if you look at your PE substrate, as I mentioned, the traditional substrate you are using could be BOPP, could be BOPET, could be BOPA. And we all know this substrate, for example, BOPET, if you look at your chart on the left, in terms of haze and gloss, PET is definitely the highest, followed by BOPA, then BOPP in terms of the purple circles. So some of the solution available in the market for MDOPE right now, it does have a higher haze level and lower gloss level. That is actually still having certain gaps towards the traditional substrate structure that you are using. Our latest solution, if you look at the purple circle, is a MDAP solution with ExxonMobil solution. It's actually having similar haze and gloss versus BOPP and very close to BOPA. While at the same time, stiffness is also very important in terms of the flatness and printabilities. So with our solution, we'll be able to achieve comparable stiffness versus BOPP or BOPA. If we move to the next, so for MDPE substrate, as I just shared, this is the whole solution portfolio that we can offer, ranging from HD to our metallocene performance PE. It actually help you to achieve similar performance in terms of optic, stiffness and stiffness at room temperature and stiffness at higher temperature, which is more applicable when you're doing printing. It's very similar to a BOPP solutions. It actually enable you for design for recyclabilities, having outstanding stiffness machinabilities, outstanding optics, and eventually will be able to ensure packaging integrities. For some of you are interested in the MDO solution offered by us, which currently you may not have that equipment to run yourself, feel free to reach out to our sales representative or myself. My contact is at the end of the presentation. That we can introduce you to suppliers who are able to supply this similar quality towards a BOPP in terms of stiffness and optics. While some of you might also wondering, yeah, I do not have the investment currently in place. Can I use my existing equipment to look at whether I can have a PE substrate with decent optics and stiffness for my printing? So moving to the next, I will introduce the non-MDO PE substrate solutions. It is, if you look at the chart on the right, there is really a lot of dot. The key message we want to emphasize here is with different solutions, you can really help to balance and choose what do you actually matters most. So let's say if you really want a very high stiff uh, substrate that help you to support your printing and flatness in the printing process, while haze is not that important in that application, it could be like fully printed or it does not really need very low haze level. You can actually look in towards a solution D that point. But at the same time, if you really want to strike for very low haze values at the time, your stiffness might not be matter that much, then you can also apply our solutions towards the lower left-hand side at the corner. But in terms of the overall balance, we do want to introduce you towards dot A over there, which we believe is actually a good balance between the haze level and stiffness level to allow you to have a very good optics that it with haze below 10%, at the same time, very decent stiffness to enable you for printing process to move it to have it smooth printing process for both rotogravure and flexo. Moving forward, this is two in terms of substrate solutions. Just now, as I mentioned, when you have a full PE solutions, you also need to look at the redesign in terms of sealant film. So looking looking at your machines, your applications, and your end users' packaging machines, they might be different SITs, which is what we say seal initiation temperature you can apply. So if you really want to look a very low sealing temperature, for example, you want to look at SIT below 95, then this is where we have our extra seal POP 2008, which is of density 908 to support you the solutions. Well, if you are having a pre-made pouch, which you can control the bag making, pre-made pouch bag making process internally, this is where you can look more towards our extra cell 1012, which is density of 912. That can bring you the SIT about below 100. So it's really a wide portfolio that we are offering that support you for different PE sealant film solution to design to enable our mono PEP solutions. Moving next, on top of PE substrate and sealant design, a lot of time we will receive questions from converters on if I change to a mono PE structure, how about the barrier? Because currently am I using a PE as a substrate? Am I using metallized PET as the barrier performance layers? So there is a wide range of barrier solution you can adopt for mono PE. Depends really on what is your OTR and WVTR that you require. We can suggest different solution to you, including MDOPE with different barrier coatings. Or if you have a barrier machine, you can also look towards a co-extruded PE with EVOH to achieve a good OTR at the same time balanced WVTR. For example, if you want to strike to very low WVTR, this is where we can offer a PE metallized solutions to push the WVTR value lower. So it's really a range of solution that we work together with value chain partner who actually supply some of these solutions, including EVOH, including barrier coatings and metallizations. So feel free to reach to us to talk offline for more solution that we can offer to help you design our overall mono PEP structures. So to end this section, I will have a full PE structured example for two-ply flat bottom bag as a combination of all the solution just now we introduced. The reason we put a two-ply flat bottom bag is we do understand for Australia market, there is a lot of pet food consumptions. So, and pet food now, flat bottom bag is one of the most popular packaging format. So if you look at this case over here, So the reference is actually a BOPET laminated with a PE structure. We actually change it to a MDOPE with a PE, so which is a fully recyclable structure with a full PE solution. So with our Exit Tough Plus and Extra Seal, we are able to achieve 100% backdrop performance as repetitive drop on 5 sides at fixed height of 1.2 meters. At the same time, some of you for pet food might also looking towards needle punctures because when you drop it and some maybe sharp edges, and also in terms of dark drop performance that kind of match the backdrop performance. And this is really the opportunity we see for a full PE structure for potential design for recycling to enable you for circular economy solutions. So all this above is actually more touching towards design for recycling structure. At next, I will also like to quickly share a different view that you can look at. It's actually more lower hanging fruits on reduce virgin plastic usage to do more with less. So if we move to the next page, one more page. So this is actually mimic a sugar bag for 1 kg, but if you have a currently non-laminated structure for some of your pet food or some of your staple food packagings, this is where we want to demonstrate as a ultimate down gauge that you can look towards this one. So this is a non-laminated gusset bags with 1 kg sugar content inside. So we actually conducted backdrop according to end customer's requirement. So the first backdrop is actually for 12 pouch. Content is 1 kg sugar, drop height is 2 meters. The second backdrop is looking at 20 pouch in one jumbo bags, which drop height is 1.5 meters. So I will just look at the video. So this is actually demonstrate the capability of down gauging. Originally, this packaging at end user side is 80 micron. We managed to bring to 55 micron. So this is where our solution enables a down gauge, which is do more with less to reduce virgin plastic usage on top of design for recycling that we can contribute it at the starting points to reduce virgin plastic usage. So as you can see in the video, 12 pouch at 2 meter height, everything passed. Second is really 1.5 meters. Then we put all these 20 pouches into one bags. So this we will drop at 1.5 meters for 4 times. Then you can see our team is actually quickly check, make sure every bags is survive the backdrop. So I believe this apply may not directly for sugar packagings, but also for some of the dry food packagings that you guys are participating in right now. Okay, so after checks everything, so all 20 pouches is past the backdrops. Okay, so if we move on to the next page, is really just to demonstrate in terms of the data. So the solution you can see here, the reference is 80 micron. The down gauge solution first is 60 micron, second is 55 micron. So really is a quite significant down gauge in terms of reduced virgin plastic usage. And from all these, you can actually have similar dark drop performance at 60 micron, slightly lower at 55 micron, but overall, it still can meet your backdrop requirement needed. Okay, so that brings me to the end of the solution introductions. And for ExxonMobil, we always looking towards partnership and support across value chain to recognize opportunities for collaboration, fostering relationship and the synergies. That is aligned with what Rebecca shared at the beginning. That's a reason we have this joint webinars together with APCO and more to come in next 2 days. And our solution focus in terms of the mindset to shift towards a circular economies. So with that, I will hand back to Will, and we will start our Q&A session.
All right. So with that itself, we covered today. For tomorrow, the topic is going to be on incorporating recycled content, scaling circularity through mechanical recycling, where Rebecca would share more about mechanical recycling, EPCO role in this, and how they can help in the adoption. While me, myself, will share about solutions that enables incorporation of PCR, again, without sacrificing the mechanical performance itself. I just want to do a kind of a small commercial, which is for day three, where we'll be talking more about the advanced recycling itself, which is critical components on top and addition to mechanical recycling. Under day three itself, we have Mr. Chai Kui which is Asian Pacific Advanced Recycling and Sustainable Market Manager for ExxonMobil, and also Mr. Juan Matis Garcia, which is the Business Manager from Control Union Group, to share more on the advanced recycling itself. Okay, so with that, we hope to see you again tomorrow and also on the day after. As mentioned earlier itself, what you are seeing on screen right now is some of the channels, online channels that you can reach out to us, as well as to learn more of what both ExxonMobil Chemicals and also EPCO could bring to your business itself. All right. So if any question, please scan the QR codes and further drop them to us. For those questions that's not answered, as mentioned earlier, we're going to reach out to you to answer them to the best that we could. Alternatively, please post the question via the QR code on screen right now. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone once again. We hope to see you again tomorrow.